Hello again. With this video, I'm going to be covering Zayin and Chet. Now, Zayin is a letter that it's took me a longer time to establish in my own mind what I'm comfortable in terms of the meanings than other letters, because it seems to have two what seem to be opposing dynamics on the go. But now I see how they come together. With many letters, like I keep saying, you do your research, you check out the books, the different sources, internet, etc., and you get conflicting information, same as everything. And then you do your own studies by putting these meanings in, and you start to see patterns. Okay, so now I'm settled on it. I'm giving you my take. Again, it's my take on it. I'm not always going to be right on everything, but see what you think. Okay, I'm trying to keep the same format roughly as all the other videos. So original forms, a bit like this. That's allegedly Egyptian one, which ain't much different. When it went into paleo, it was sometimes the same, but other times it was like a stretched eye shape. And then other times it was almost a bit like a Z. And other times blatantly a Z shape. You probably got out a Z from this, I would probably. In Dead Sea Scrolls type late Hebrew, Isaiah scroll type times, it looked a bit like a backward vav or wow. Okay, and in modern Hebrew, it's a bit like that, sort of saying with a flick on the end. Or sometimes it would be more a bit like that. Okay, now this, according to a lot of the sources, seems to be a picture of a ploughshare or like a mattock. You know, typically what a farmer would drag across his field using an ox, or modern day even a tractor, to furrow the ground, okay, to dig into it, plant the seeds, etc. Okay. Whereas this seems to be more like a kind of a weapon, like a handheld weapon. I'm going to take this off. Alright, just to make it more visual. I know that's terrible, but you know, I think you get the idea. Okay, drop the seeds in. Okay. Meanings, according to, it seems to have a lot to do with food. There's more than one letter that has a lot to do with food. So meanings, we seem to, oh yeah, grammatically, it's number 7. Okay. As far as I know, that's it for grammar. But meanings, you get the idea of food or seed. Seed, grain, etc. Nourishment. Okay. These are sort of like the food ideas. Hang on. In terms of visually what it visually looks like, it's kind of like if I spell that wrong, don't worry about it. Ploughshare. Okay. Yeah. From these concrete ideas, you get the idea of it being to do with harvest, right? You get the idea of it being sharp. It also carries the ideas of cutting and dividing things. Okay. Now you might look at divide and sharp and say what's that got to do with it, but it's also to do with the other forms of it. Because in the modern form, it's supposed to represent a weapon. Okay. And this is what threw me at first, because I'm looking at a weapon, then looking at a ploughshare. And it's like, what's the difference? Well, you can have something to plough. You could use a spade or like a trowel, which is like a metal implement, or it's a tool to dig the ground, put your seeds in. which would carry the same connotations as this, but that could also be a handheld weapon. Okay, so you can see a link there. Right, so you also have weapon. And from a weapon and from plowshare, they're both made out of metal. Okay, and so they both have the idea of shining as well. Again, some of these meanings, different sources are going to conflict. You have to choose what you believe. I think this all works together without really contradicting, so I'm happy to accept it. Okay. Now, in terms of the forms of the modern one, which again this, I don't very often draw it all pretty like you see in Torah scrolls, but I've been doing a bit of research on this to do so here because there's some things I want to bring out. Sometimes in a proper Torah scroll you'd see it. Board keeps moving. A bit like that. Sometimes you have a little crown on top, sometimes, I don't understand all this myself in terms of the crowns. And other times you'd see it kind of the same, but you can see the form of the top is different. So the question is, what's this supposed to be a picture of? I'd say this one here, to me it looks like a hammer. Try and imagine a big thicker head on the top, okay? Weapon. I'm not saying it does, I'm saying it could. Okay? With this one here, I think it can be taken two ways. You could look at it this way. To say this is a handle, and then the top piece is a blade. Again, double-edged sword. Cut it both ways. Or maybe you could look at it completely the opposite way. So it's like this. Okay, handle blade. Maybe. Okay. The other form that you see most commonly is this one. That's basically how most Zayins look in books. Okay. I think it's pretty clear that that's one of these, or something like that, at least. Right. Some kind of hatches or something. And with these, you can quite easily see me getting some straw and harvesting it, cutting it, dividing it, and using it as a weapon. Okay. So I wanted to bring those points out. Hopefully it'll help. Now, something else. Did a bit more research. There's lots of links to this idea of food and weapons joined together. And get this word here. Lechem. It means to you, plural, but it can also mean bread. Okay. But if you change it here, milchama, that's apparently the word for war, and the idea goes, you attack this place, whatever, you gain land, then you can grow your bread on it. Right? It's all to do with like wanted stuff. You need money, you want food, you want sustenance. Okay, so there's a bread and war link there. There's also another thing. Mashiach said words to the effect of, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of Yahweh. Okay, so you've got the idea of bread and a word. Now, if you remember, I said before that noon can represent the word because, Mashiach also teaches that the seed is a word. Okay, so man's not going to live by bread alone, but by every word. You can look at the word as being noon, but you can look at it as being the Zayin, because that's also a seed. You've got the word idea there, but also the word is also in scripture elsewhere known as the sword. Okay, the double-edged sword, if you like. So you've got another idea of word going there. It can cut both ways. It can convict or it can comfort. Again, every letter can represent Elohim in some way. So there's another idea of the bread and the war there. There's also another one. If you remember the scripture where it talks about, they shall beat their ploughshares. Sorry, the wrong way around. They shall beat their swords into ploughshares. So you've got a sword and you beat it and you turn it into ploughshare. So you've got the idea of war turning into food again. Right? Yeah. I've not touched upon it much in my videos, but each letter usually has one or sometimes more different ways you can actually spell the letter out using other letters. So Aleph would be Aleph, Lamed, Pei, for instance. And there's other ways of doing it. And then sometimes you can dig in deeper that way. Right? If you spell Zayin like that, Zan, that's according to the books and that, to be to nourish and to sustain, right? To feed. If you spell it this way, there's to put yod in the middle. That's Zayin, like the single letter, and that's basically a weapon. So you've got the link there. The two different spellings of the same word. Okay, and there's another link. This might be a stretch. I don't know. You get the word Shabbat. If it's pronounced Sava, apparently that means full and satisfied. And you know, that's basically the word for seven. So you've got a link with a seven, Zayin, full, satisfied, nourish. It could be something there, I'm not sure. Also, this picture of seven, if you look at the modern version, you can see a big seven going on there. Arcade anyway. Also the Paleo Hebrew one, it's Z, so obviously the big seven thing on the go there as well. That might not be anything, that's just me. Alright, moving on. Alright, Chet. Bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Right, yeah. Pictographic, you basically got the idea of a wall or fence. So you've got your fence posts, etc. Paleo kind of flipped like that, or two bars, or sometimes it looks like that. Kind of the same thing, flipped, tweaked a little bit. Okay. Dead Sea Scrolls type area, it kind of looked a bit like that. Right? And then you get the modern one, which is basically that. Or if you want to pretty it up a bit, like that. Grammatically it's number 8, okay? In terms of the meaning of this one, quite obviously, it's a wall. Excuse me. Or fence. Or you could say a boundary. Possibly, not sure, but possibly an enclosure. Because to me this also looks like pens. Top down view where you keep your sheep on one side and probably goats on the other side, for instance. So it kind of looks like a pen. You've got the divide idea going on there. And it also does mean divide. You put a wall in between something, you just divided it. Some sources suggest it means inside and outside simultaneously. Again, I keep going about letters having negative and positive poles, and if you're going to divide something, one's inside, the other side is outside. Does that make sense to me? Okay, inside, outside. Some sources also suggest it means skin, and that to me was like, whoa, that's way out. Now I've had a look at it, I don't know, I think it makes perfect sense, because skin is the wall of your body, it's your boundary, it's your outer limits, it keeps stuff inside and outside. Makes sense to me. So I'm going to put it down. Right. At the end of the day, it's just a type of a wall. Okay, skin. What was there? Yeah. Some sources say it means life as well, which again seems a bit completely different, but put it down. As far as I've currently concluded, I think it means life in the sense of walling you around in a good way. Compassion, sort of like a bit like a hug. You know, it's like protective enclosure. It can mean protected in a sense, because it's a wall. You have these again, it's all concept. And all the letters that do have several meanings, they can bend a little bit. If you bend them too far, you can make it mean television or anything you want. It gets silly if you go too far. So, this thing with life though, I've been looking at it a bit more. Now, with Zayin, I just did some Torah scroll style pretty letters, as I call it. I'm going to do a couple here. I don't know enough about it because these so-called jots and tittles, I need to learn a lot about it. I do believe they're still legitimate. I know a lot of you say, oh, well, this came first and this came first, therefore that's crap. Okay, and I know that a lot of the modern day Yehudim go, oh, well, this is great and this is all crap. I accept them all for different reasons, as I've been trying to drive that point home. The Mashiach said at some point words to the effect of not even the not one jot or tittle would be done away from the law until it was fulfilled, etc. The word jot, or letter jot rather, more like yot or iot, it's basically the Greek iota, and that directly corresponds with the Hebrew yod, which is the smallest letter in the modern type of script. Say modern, it's still ancient, but it's certainly not the smallest one in paleo or even pictographic. It's only smaller here, and you only get the tittles, like for instance, for draw yod. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but as far as I understand, these little flicks are sometimes called the tittles, or sometimes you get these little crowns on some letters, etc. Them. So it seems to me that Messiah is actually endorsing the script, including all these little peculiarities in, like, in some Torah scrolls you get like inverted nuns and things that are sideways and some strange marks. That's why I believe they're all legitimate for different reasons. So you got your modern Chet. Sometimes in Torah scroll it looked more like this. Yeah. Well, it looks totally different, but it's a mixture of a Zayin and a Vav, or Wow, joined together by a little, say it's a kupa, like a marriage canopy thing. Okay, and there's another version as well. Basically, two Zayins joined together. What's the significance of this? I don't know. I can only read what I've read. I've not read much about it, but it's true or not, I don't know. But to say, in terms of life, this is like your flesh life, if you like, your physical life. This is like where Elohim, or the word, if you like, or maybe you might interpret it as a Ruach, comes in, and that Vav man, you have the Vav in this case, the Wow, and you've joined to Elohim, he's working on your soul. And then you get, finally you get two Zayins, like two spirits joined together. So it's saying it's kind of almost a picture of salvation, past, present, future. Initial justification, and then you get your sanctification, you're being made Kodesh and everything, and then your final justification, if you like, your glorification. I don't know if that's true or not. It might be. I'm just putting it there to steer you to have a look at it if you wish. It kind of fits with life though. This being, if this is supposed to be physical life, like flesh life, then it would fit with skin. Maybe. I'm just throwing that out there. So these modern ways of looking at things I need to look into, because I do believe they're all legitimate for different reasons, or most of them at least. In terms of words, I can't think of much. There's one for Zayin. Zahab or Zahab, right? This. It's a word for gold. I had a look at it to try and work out what it could mean. Now I don't know. This is a quick word study. I've not looked at it too much, and I don't know if what I'm talking is. I can't stand on it too strongly, but I had to think about it. You've got something there that you use for harvesting. So, considering the context is gold, let's just say it means digging or mining. It's the same thing, isn't it? Digging or mining. Maybe that can mean dig. Right? Digging and mining. And then something's revealed. Right? You couldn't see it before, it was hidden, now it's revealed. From inside something, whether this is a house or a place where you dwell, or the families live, that's the earth. And again, this type context, it makes sense that that would be the earth, giant dwelling place. So you harvest it, you dig it out of the ground, it's revealed, it makes you go, woo! The hey man thing again, but, you know, gold, and then it's from the earth. I can't get that picture. That's a word that's very often translated as meaning this. This, I don't know if better can mean substance, but it can mean body. This has body to it, this has substance. Maybe, I'm not sure. You know, plus gold is very shiny and it's made out of metal, so you've got the idea of splendour and metal with the Zayin there. And hey, some sources suggest it means light. Yeah, maybe. With Chet, I can't really think of a decent word to sort of explain it, to be honest. So, I'll just leave it there. Okay, thanks for watching. Please give me some comments and usual, really. If it's helped you, let me know.